Whenever you're ready to rock, girl, I'm ready to rock. So it's going to be good.
Okay. So, hi, everybody. Today's episode is a little bit different. This is the first live interview that we're doing. We're doing like live Q&A. So what I wanted to do is a little bit different since we're going through a coronavirus situation right now, unfortunately. I wanted to leverage in one way or another of what's going on, because sometimes tough people make it through tough times, right? So I wanted to invite Ray on the episode. He is the only person that has 2 episodes on RM Podcast FL, and he's about to have a third one.
It's my third episode?
Technically, yes.
Yes. Yes.
So Ray has been in the leadership position for quite forever. He has his own consulting company as well as in the directorship position. So I wanted to talk to Ray a little bit about what leaders need to do at these tough times, how leaders can gear up, and maybe if you think you have leadership skills or you definitely like to, expose your leadership skills, this might just be the perfect time for you. So I wanted to kind of attack things from a positive perspective, stop being negative. Let's try to help one another. So Ray, I'm going to pass the mic to you. Introduce yourself to everybody who has no idea who you are.
Sweet.
Because they should.
Rock and roll. Hey, first of all, thank you for letting me be on the podcast today. I really appreciate that. My name is Ray Weisenbarger. I'll give you the elevator pitch of Uncle Ray Ray. Grew up in Ohio. Born and raised on the playground, was where I spent most of my days. Just kidding. No, I grew up in Ohio, and Will Smith reference. I had to do the Will Smith. But I grew up in Ohio. Was a Division I athlete, 6-time All-American, 1-time national champion. Coached at 3 different universities. Coached at the University of Akron. Coached at the University of South Florida. I also coached at UCLA, little small school that nobody's ever heard of, right? Coached there for about 3 years. Got kind of pissed off for greatness because I felt like I was coaching at a very, very high level, and I still wasn't really reaching my potential of what I wanted to do in life. And I got really sick and tired of Los Angeles because LA sucks. Sorry for anybody that lives in Los Angeles right now, especially during Corona. But I literally told my wife, hey, I don't know what we're going to do. I have a master's degree. I have experience in coaching, but I don't want to coach anymore. So we're going to move to Florida and see what happens. So I went to Florida and looked for a bunch of jobs, went to all these kooky interviews. And I remembered that people told me that I'd be okay at sales, that I would do well at sales. And I thought, hey, why not give this thing a shot? I started off like you did in good old Sidcore, good old Sidcore, the Sidcore days. Entry level, and worked my way within 6 months from an entry level position into a management role, starting my own company, Davis Marketing Concepts, DMC Orlando, Damico. And I ran that for 9 years. I still run that. Shh, don't tell anybody.
You're on live, Ray.
What? Oh shoot, I'm live. Crap. Oh shoot, did I expose myself? But yeah, man, I ran that business very successfully for 9 years. I was the number 1 AT&T office in the entire country in 2015. I was in the top 5 from 2014 to 2018. I made Rising Star at in the Sidcore level, which is like the best rookie owner, blah, blah, blah deal. I ended up opening 4 deals, 4 outside deals, 2 up in Jacksonville, where you are, 1 down in Fort Lauderdale, Fort Lottie Dottie, and I had my office in Orlando. I use that success to public speak. I've been paid to public speak. For some reason, people like hearing me flap my gums, and you've had me on here 3 times, so apparently I haven't pissed you off yet, which is good. I've written 2 books, 2 I've published on Amazon.com. One we'll talk a little bit about today, Defiant by Definition, which you can pick up right now. And I have Why I Will Rule, which is online as well on Amazon.com. No paperback, all digital. I'm not into the paper thing. Not because I'm a hippie, but I do care about the trees. Just kidding. But you can literally watch it digitally now, so it's all good. And then I have a 3rd book that is done in the can. I just got to do a little bit of tweaks here and there called Cliche that I will drop eventually. Right now, I'm just kind of surviving the corona like everybody else is right now. But I've also worked in obviously a director. Just had a director position that got affected by the corona scenario, and lost my position and bounced back and got a better position that pays 3 times as much, working as a digital sales manager for a financial company, which I'm very excited about. And long story short is I have a very long record of success in the business world, especially with sales and marketing. For some reason, I'm very good at coaching people. I'm very good at making very complex things simple, and I think that's that comes from God ultimately, because everything that I think or say comes from Him. But yeah, that's kind of how it works. But right now, I'm married, three girls. I have a 16-year-old. I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. I live in Florida, good old sunny Florida, Orlando, Florida, a little bit south of you. And
Yeah.
yeah, man, I've on the side I lift really heavy stuff, and I do a lot of content creation and figuring out this TikTok thing. I think I have like 31,000 followers, almost 32,000 followers on TikTok, and you can follow me everywhere on TikTok. I'm the strong one on TikTok. I am Ray R. Weisenbarger on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. You can follow me there, and you can pick up any of my books on Amazon.com. So it's all good. Was that a good enough intro? Did I sell myself enough?
No, honestly, if you guys know Ray, that's like just the highlights of it.
I'm just keeping it simple.
Yeah.
I'm keeping it simple. I don't want to be that humble brag dude that's like, yeah, I'm the crap. I'm really not. I'm just a dude that I just feel like at the end of the day, you've got one shot at life. You better do everything you can while God gives you the time. And a lot of people waste their life and don't use it. So I'm going to try to use it the best of my ability. So it's all good. Sorry, I'm simulcasting so people on TikTok know what the heck I'm doing. So
It's
it's all
okay.
good.
Tell people on TikTok to jump to
Yeah.
RM Podcast FL on Facebook, where you'll be able to see
Yeah.
the live stream. And if you guys have questions, we can definitely go ahead and ask them. But now you did mention a little bit that a current position of yours recently got affected because of the coronavirus, and you're not the
Corona,
first
yep.
or the last.
Nope.
Unfortunately, it's no handbook of how to deal with such situations, and you just have to stay as positive as you can and try to fix the
Yeah.
situation. So, what would be like mentally, what would be some advice that you can give to somebody to kind of cope with the whole situation? Because being in denial for a while, it's not very helpful.
Yeah. In the first chapter of my book, Defined by Definition, I talk about this. I talk about the scenario where two pilots are flying and everything goes bad. Everything goes horrible. The plane starts falling. The co-pilot literally freaks out, just accepts the end, and all of a sudden the plane rises up again. And the reason why was the captain, in the moment of oblivion, didn't blink. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. And that's kind of the message that I've been giving people is like, don't blink. Like everything in life, like you understand, there's 3 phases of life. Okay. You're either heading towards a fire, you're in a fire, or you're coming out of a fire. And a lot of times we go through our lives, especially in America, because we have it very, very cush in America compared to the rest of the world, period. We forget that adversity is going to come every single day. Every single day that you live, you are going to face adversity. So the reality is the only thing that you can control is 2 things: your attitude and your work ethic. That's it. There's only 2 things that you can control. So in the midst of the coronavirus, because trust me, it was crazy. I got hired onto a really big director position. I'm working with freaking Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, landed a huge deal with Universal Parks. And we were a little bit earlier to the corona pandemic, just because we worked in amusement parks and so on and so forth. So I'm building infrastructure for this company. I just landed a huge deal with Universal. I'm making them money. And all of a sudden they're like, hey, man, uncertainty. We don't know what to do. And we got to terminate your position. And I would literally saw you the day after that happened, like literally the day after it happened. And in that moment, I could have easily panicked, freaked out, and been like, "Oh my gosh, I worked hard to get into a director position like this, and to really showcase my skills as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a business leader." And I really didn't get that much time to do that. I could have panicked, but the first thing I
You
did,
didn't look panicked to me. You were hanging
I,
out with
oh, I know. And the
we
first
were
thing,
at a conference because it
yes,
was still not canceled, Podfest 2020. You looked fine to me. You weren't panicking.
yeah, and the thing is, this is for me is like inside. Obviously, there was adversity. Inside, there was obviously some things that I was like, "Oh crap!" Especially being, a dad and a husband and a provider and stuff like that that you freak out about. But the reality is this: I didn't gain anything from panicking. I gain absolutely nothing from blinking. And that's what I talk about in my book. And it's not just word service that I talk about in my books. It's the real deal spiel of what leaders really do. And that's, they don't blink when adversity happens. They do exactly what they've always done, which is put one foot in front of the other and keep going after it. And I think that, the first day after I got, quote unquote, my position was terminated, in unforeseen situations with Corona, blah, blah, blah. I go to Podfest with you, and we're at Podfest having a good time, learning a lot. And immediately, I'm already thinking about the next step, the next level, and where I needed to go to get to where I needed to be. And literally 1 week later, I got a position where now I'm going to make 3 times what I was making in this director position, and I'm very excited about. So for me to and it's a completely different industry that I haven't worked in before, which is the financial sector, which I'm really, really pumped up for. But the reality of the situation is this: if I panic, freak out, and lose my mind, well, guess what? That's not going to happen. I'm not going to have those successes. And instead of quarantining myself, and I hate to use that word right now, because easily, let's think about it. You invite me to podcasts, it's a really great opportunity to learn, and so on and so forth. Most people would do what when they get fired? What do? Woe is me, teardrops, life's over, got to stay at home.
Can't believe this is
I
happening.
can't believe this is happening. My life sucks, blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, life is about you're heading towards a fire, you're in one or coming out of it. So do I just sit in the fire and cry, or do I get out of it? And I think
you can, but you're going to turn up into ashes.
Exactly. And it's not what leadership is. Leadership is literally looking at the entire situation and looking at the big picture, looking at perspective and realizing, Lord willing, I'm going to wake up the next day. So that means I got to get my butt in gear. That means I've got to get more motivated to go after things. And it literally opened up a door for me to be in a really, really good position that I am now. So, praise God, one. But two, thank you that, he gave me the resolve to not panic and freak out about those things. And those are things that I taught when I was, running my own company full time. I even do that with the guys that still work for me now, is just adversity. And we learn that, especially in the sales game, because you got to think about this. You're eating no's all day long. You're getting hate all day long. I joke about it on TikTok because I joke around that I'm one of the most hated people on TikTok, just because of my opinions, and they're loaded, which we're not going to get into on this thing or whatever. But I have loaded opinions that really piss people off. And, a lot of people can't handle that adversity. Yeah, I know. Shocker. But, easily I could fold under the pressure of worrying about what other people think. But the problem is I'm a leader because I don't do what other people do. I don't act like other people act. I respond to situations differently. I don't blink. And that's what I encourage your listeners to do, in any form of business that they're in. I think any business professional will tell you adversity is coming, and really, what's your attitude and what's your work ethic towards it? Okay. Are you going to lose it? Are you going to sit around and cry, or are you going to actually do something about it and move to the next level? And that's ultimately what I've tried to teach, preach, and I've been doing that for a long time on my podcast, Plausible Foolishness, on my, social media stuff, and then ultimately my book that we're talking about, Defiant by Definition, man. So it's all good.
So let's touch base a little bit, because some people want to be leaders, but then we have those people around us that might put us down, might lift us up. So how can we be, I don't want to say picky, but when we be picky, who do we surround ourselves with towards, if you have leadership skills, like the brick and the sand concept that we went through together? How can you select those people? Because you might have the most positive spirit, but somebody is just going to drag you down just because they can.
Yeah, I don't think it's about selecting people. I'm probably going to go at this a little bit differently. I think it's about starting where you are. What's your core and what's your center? Like, what do you put your faith and trust in? What do you ultimately put your value in? And, the law of attraction happens afterwards. The people that need to be around you start coming your way. And unfortunately, I think that, I'm probably taking a little bit different than most people, but I'm not seeking out people to lead. I just be a leader where I'm at, right? So I just do what I need to do where I'm at, be the best version of what I have, do the best with the resources God's given me, have the best attitude possible, work my butt off every single day. And that naturally attracts people to my situation, because most people are not doing those things. Most people are seeking out all these other people to help guide them where they need to be. Now, I'm not saying that you don't guide or you don't seek out other people. Clearly, you want to seek out mentors. Clearly, you want to build networks. Clearly, you want to get with people that ultimately can help you be effective where you are and ultimately hit the goals that you're looking for in life. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't start with you, you're like an empty husk. Okay, you're a balloon. The moment you get popped, you're done because there's nothing inside. There's no core to you. There's no strength to you. And I think that's what a lot of people need to understand. And when I talk about that in the book, Defined by Definition, I talk about this idea that, the critics, the people on the outside absolutely don't matter. That sounds cold, callous, and horrible. But the reality of the situation is the people that are going to depend on you the most, the people that are looking for you to lead, need you to be in a solid place before you can ever help them out. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if you cannot help yourself, if you can't find your center, if you can't find the places where you want to be, you're not effective to anyone. So that's where I would start with the question you originally asked. But then I would say, here's the thing. Once you find where you are, you will naturally, like magnets, attract other people that are in similar spots to you.
You're going to end up in the same wavelength.
Exactly. You know what I mean? It's like before you even started this podcast, which is blowing up, by the way, RM Podcast FL. Make sure you check it out. That's where my girl Romina is interviewing me right now. But she, you remember, I think you came to me like a year and a half ago. And you're like, you know what, Ray? I think I should do this podcast thing. And now you're freaking international. You're blowing up. You're doing your thing. And this is like a year ago, because you got to keep in mind, everybody and their brother's like, oh, don't do podcasting. Everybody's already doing podcasting. Everybody's already doing it. And what did I tell you? I was like, girl, do it. Like, what did I say verbatim? I'm like, you should do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you want me on the show, which is now my third time on the show, like, do it. And guess what happens? Because you didn't blink, because you didn't freak out, because you were like, oh gosh. And it's not like your life was in a certain place at that moment either. But think about all the strength you've gained from this, the growth you've gained from this, just by acting and doing the things that you know to do, because you're a leader. But guess what? The first person you came to, it's not like we were best buds or something like that before. Let's get real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're like, hey, Ray, what's going on every day? That wasn't the case. It's just you're like, hey, there's this other dude that has similar vibes to me. He does podcasting. I want to ask what's going on with that. And literally, you're going to attract the right people. So now you're in a very successful place as a podcast host, kicking ass, taking names like you are, because you're just doing the thing that you know you're supposed to do. You're not sitting around saying, hey, mom, dad, brother, dog that hates Ray, can I do a podcast? Like, no, I'm just kidding. I love your dog, but no, I mean seriously though. Like at the end of the day, because you made the decision, you may not have been like in the most perfect, solid place or whatever internally, and that's for anybody.
Yeah.
But if you do the things that you know are going to center you, you're naturally going to attract the other people that need to come around to you to help you. Because at the end of the day, you cannot save the entire world. I tell people this.
And let's be real. I recently actually had this conversation with you on Orlando that I was not at the best place, and I wasn't sitting here saying, "Hey, listen to me, because I'm the expert at this, or I'm this at this." I seeked out for questions. I seeked out for help, and then I showed whatever through the process I learned, and I went ahead and put it to practice. Because I turned this idea, it was in my head, I turned it into an actual project. So this way, it actually turned to what it is right now.
Yep.
But something that I wanted to add to, I actually heard this concept recently. It's a great theory, because I love theories, as we know.
Gotta love the theories. Gotta love
this
them, man.
New theory that I learned, I don't know if I shared it with you in Orlando, but it was a theory of only people that actually get punched and go through stuff, those are the people that end up being successful. So 100%. Think of it this way. The guy said, I actually do boxing. He's like, there's days that I go to practice that my trainer just has to punch me in the stomach. He's like, do I love that? Hell no, I don't love that. He said, but that way it builds up my core. So whenever I'm actually on the rink and I get punched on the stomach for real, I would say, that's all you got? I've got better punches from my trainer. So this way, once you build that actual inner core and you practice intentionally to, you need to go through hell to not feel that pain as much whenever it actually happens in real life. You're like, is this all you got? So it just kind of reminded me to the latest one that I actually heard, which I think it's a great theory. It's not mine this time.
Well, it's not a theory. It's a fact. I mean, the thing is, I mean, the problem is this, the people that rise up the most in the world
Yeah.
are the people that, sorry, I'm literally putting your thing on my deal for everybody to watch, man. So it's all good. Boom, I got it. Sorry, I'm doing both. I'm like, Romina, help me out. So, but yeah,
It's okay.
if you don't go through adversity, how in the world are you going to survive the storm? You know, it's like building muscle. It's like at the end of the day, like my goal, my private goal is I want to bench 600 pounds. How in the world am I going to bench 600 pounds if I'm afraid to get under 315, 225, 135? And it's a process to get there, right? So every step of the way, you have to put yourself in circumstances that are absolutely insane that are going to push you to where you need to be. And here's the other thing, too. It's not just the successes you have to experience, it's the failures. There are times I miss weight all the time. There's times that I've torn a pec. There's times that I've hurt a tricep or hurt my shoulder or
What,
whatever.
you?
Yeah, I'm not indestructible. I try my best not to be, which is all good. But the reality of the situation is you have to experience punches, adversity, tough times to get to the other side. Because the reality is this, right? You're either heading towards a fire, in a fire, or coming out of it. You don't come through a fire unless you go through the fire. You have to go
Sorry, I
through the
like
fire.
covered my mic there for a second. I didn't realize that.
No,
Okay,
you're all good. No, you're fixing your hair. You're getting it right. I feel you, man. So it's all good.
No, I'm actually like I'm about to dive into some really deeper questions, so I'm getting serious.
Get serious. Oh, whoa. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's get it.
Where did you go?
Sipping on my water. Sorry. Oh, she's ready. She's getting deep in the questions here. I'm ready to go.
I sent you the questions earlier.
I know you
Guys,
sent them
this
all.
is the first live, okay? So just be patient with me.
Listen,
Because
it's live.
typically those are edits that you do when you actually launch a podcast.
Time out on the field.
When you do live, it's different.
It's not about being perfect, man. It's about just doing. You'd rather do than not do. You know what I mean? It's just go after it. That's what I say, but it is what it is. Yes, if you're watching on TikTok right now, it's check out rmpodcastfl.com. I'm a guest on Romina's show. I'm excited. Sorry, I'm answering my TikTokers.
Okay, question.
Yeah.
You always wanted to, X person always wanted to launch their online services or do something different, and they never found the time.
Yeah.
And even after this quarantine time, they're still going to blame it on the time that they could not find the time to actually sit down. What did you tell to that person?
Well, one, you didn't really want to do it. That's the short answer. The easiest answer is you really didn't want to do it, right? So to answer your question, the guy that's like, oh, I've got a book I want to write. There's a service that I want to put out there. There's a business I want to start. There's a mountain I want to climb. There's the weight I want to lose. There's the anything that you possibly can put. You can literally put it down at the funnel of you really didn't want to do that, period. Now, you were interested in it. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people that are interested in things. They're very interested in, man, I'm interested in losing some weight. I'm interested in starting a podcast. I'm interested in writing a book. The difference is, are you committed to doing that? And that's what it is. We have the same 24 hours as everybody else on the planet. The people that are watching right now, they're like, man, I really want to do a podcast. And people ask me this all the time. Hey, Ray, should I start a podcast? Blah, blah, blah. I tell people, do it. Start a podcast. Like, do it now. You know, the guy that I'm doing my podcast with now, Plausible Foolishness, that you can check us out at twitch.tv/Plausible Foolishness. Sorry, shameless plug on your show, but twitch.tv/Plausible Foolishness. The mad scientist, Matt, we would have these political discussions all the time. And, you know, he had some amazing insight when would come from a completely different world. I'd have insight from a different world. And he was like, dude, why aren't we doing this in front of a TV screen and with, you know, cameras on and with a microphone? And I was like, well, let's do it. Go. And he's so used to normal people, like, yeah, maybe like someday we'll do it, and then maybe we'll do a podcast, and maybe, and then someday, and spoiler alert, someday doesn't exist. Monday,
someday
Tuesday
is not a day.
It's not a day. Monday through Thursday or day, or Monday through Sunday are days, not someday, right? So I told him, I was like, cool, see you next week. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, figure it out. Get us a mic. I'll get a camera rolling. Let's get going. And we just did some bootleg bull crap on a laptop computer. Started off our podcast. We're about to be at our 100th episode here in a couple days, which I'm really excited about. But like, he's so used to that mindset of like that non-leaders don't have, which is like, someday I'll do something or someday I'll make action. It's about right now. Because when people say, oh yeah, I want to do this, you never really wanted to do it. You were interested in it. You just never pulled the trigger. And the reality is this: if you truly want something to happen, you will do anything it takes to make it happen. And it doesn't. And here's the other thing: the excuses people come up with. I mean, you've heard them, right? Well, I just don't have the full idea down yet. Who cares? Action always wins, right? Like,
Put it on the board.
yeah, put it
Put
on
it on the board. Whatever you have, just literally write it.
yeah,
Like,
put it on the
this is
board.
not finished.
Yes.
Put it on the board.
Yeah. I mean,
Put it on the board.
but like, take action
Just
towards
write it down. Write it down and look at it every day, because it's kind of like a slap in your face.
Yeah, man. If you want to lose weight, walk around the block. Don't eat as much. Actually do it. Don't just say you're interested in it. If you want to do a podcast, start a Facebook Live. Even if there's one.
Here's, guys. Okay. If
Go
you want to start a podcast, since we have more free time, reach out rmpodcastfl@gmail.com.
Yes.
I will give you 45 minutes of my time. I will choose 3 people. Let me say this one more time. 3 people. Email rmpodcastfl@gmail.com. I will give you 45 minutes of my time for free. And I will guide you and I will help you to how you can launch a podcast.
Romina, on it. I love it, man. But yeah, I mean, think about it. You've done so well, and you just did it. Like, did you get formal training in it? Was somebody like,
Google.
oh, hey, yeah.
Google's like, come here, I'll teach you. Google tends to have a lot of answers.
I know, it's weird. Just like, do it, and that's what a lot of people like. It's like anything, and like we've lost this in this generation because everybody like and again, I'm not poking fun at anybody. Okay, let me say this: there's a lot of sensitive people out there. I am not trying to offend you. I'm just giving you a reality check. Okay, 10 years ago we didn't have online dating. Okay, if you wanted a girl, you had to get up. I'm not dissing. Okay.
No, I agree, because now you feel like you have 1,000 options on top of your finger, but you don't even have the courage to ask somebody for a drink. It's like, ooh, what's going to happen? Say no, next. No means next.
Exactly. So you actually have to get, like 10 years ago, you had to get up and walk to that person and say, hi, you're attractive. Would you like to date? You know what I mean? You would have to do that kind of stuff, right?
Or you can just be, how you doing?
Yeah.
Let's take a drink.
Yeah, you had to have courage. You had to take the step towards it. And the problem is now, and I'm not dissing this generation. It's way more efficient. You probably find the right people and you filter through a lot of bull crap now, right? But, sliding in DMs, like we think that that's the solution to everything. Well, I'm going to slide into losing weight, or I'm going to slide into leadership, or I'm going to slide into doing a podcast. That's not how it works. You actually have to put some sweat equity. You got to put a little bit of this little sweat equity into the process. And that's what I always tell people is like, if you truly want something to happen, you got to just start doing it. For me, it's like, I want to bench 600 pounds. I have to go to the gym all the time. Ron DeSantis in the state of Florida does not want me to lift weights right now. I'm a little renegade. I've been breaking the law and I've been going and lifting weights places. Okay. Not because I disrespect the law. I love, I love Florida and I love Ron DeSantis and all that stuff like that. But at the end of the day, my goals usurp a little bit of this quarantine. No offense. Like, I'm going to wash my hands, social distance. That's why we're doing this podcast, and not make out with old people. Okay. I'm going to do those things, and we're going to make it through. And guess what? I'm going to have success because I'm still going after the goal that I said I was going to do. Right. So for me, like, my personal mission is to positively impact as many people as possible. That's led to podcasting. That's led to writing books. That's led to public speaking gigs. That's led to the things that I've been successful at, in the business world and running my own company and now directing and doing all this other stuff. Like, at the end of the day, like, it starts with the process of actually just doing it. So that's why I tell people, to your original question, is if you really want to do something, you got to take one step forward. It's always about the first step, because that's the true dividing line between people that actually get things done or people that don't, or the people that actually do. And it sounds so stupid and simple, but a lot of life is stupid and simple. Like, do the stupid and simple stuff and you win. That's how it works. So, you know what I mean?
Okay, I got another question for you, Ray. Now, some of the leaders out there, unfortunately, they're cornered to make hard decisions. Like, the most latest one was, for example, Grant Cardone actually fired 80 people from his company.
Sucks, man.
Which, I get it. It's not easy. And some people can sit here and say, oh, he's this and he's that. Personally, I'm not a crazy big fan of him. just because I feel like sales can be taught a lot more ethically. But
Oh
that's
yeah,
just my decision.
yeah,
That's just
yeah.
my decision.
100%.
Sales doesn't mean you have to screw somebody up. Excuse my
No,
language here, but it does not mean that at all.
no, not at
So
all.
leaders that are firing or have to fire, companies that have to fire employees, what would be some tips that you can give them so they don't ruin their relationship? So once this whole situation gets fixed, gets more grounded, that employee doesn't go ahead and bash social media, or it can also have the open door to come back.
Absolutely. So I've done this numerous times. So I'm going to help you out with this. Grant Cardone, I'm not gonna positively sell his stuff. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a huge fan either of Grant Cardone because I do consultant style selling. At the end of the day, I want to consult people, but the baseline of being successful, running a
But just say it
company,
can be done more
sales,
ethically.
of course, but the baseline of sales ethically, period, is your ability to build relationships with people. Period. That's it. That is your whole deal. So I'll give you two examples. Hopefully they help out people. Okay. Anybody that's run a business understands that there's highs and there's lows. When you start, there's a lot of lows. You're like, at first you're like, yeah, I'm gonna run this business. We're gonna kick some ass. It's gonna be awesome. Woo woo. Reality hits, and then you see that first tax from the federal government, and you're like, wait a minute, I employ more people than you do, federal government. Why are you taxing me so much? But that's another story for another time. I won't get political. But long story short is it sucks at first, and it is a slow climb, and there's highs and lows, highs and lows, highs and lows, highs and lows. The thing that's going to keep you successful, because most businesses collapse in their first year, then other businesses close within the first 5 years. Now, my business that I ran full time went 9 years. Okay, so I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm not on Grant Cardone level. I'm just a dude. Okay, that happened to have a lot of success. You saw that when we first started running into each other. Okay, but the thing that here's the thing that you probably figured out from my reputation from everybody in the organization that we were in before was how many negative things did people have to say about me? Honestly,
I didn't hear none.
you know why? Because
I
at the
mean,
end of
they
the
were
day, like,
complaining you're getting too many checks on the stage, but
yeah, I mean, I was getting a few checks here and there, okay, but at the end of the day, like, the thing with me is this: it's all about the relationship, period. Okay, and here's the thing about my relationship, and I'm not talking about and understand when I say this. Love is not always ooey gooey and fluffy. It's not. Love is both things. It's loving people and also smacking them on their butt sometimes. Okay. So for me, when I was in relationships with people, running businesses, I did both. Okay. I was honest with people, I was forthright with people. And that's how I was connected with people. Now, people hated it, people loved it. But on the whole, you can't run a successful business pissing everyone off. You can't do that. You have to have that relationship with people so that they will ultimately want to give their most so you can help them get their most, right? So, two examples. Numerous times, and you know this in the sales game, people come, they make a bunch of money, they quit, they go try to make a bunch of money other places, and they're like, ah, crap, my boss sucked. Ray, you were so much better. Gosh, I want to come back and work for you, okay? Now, I could take that as an ego situation and be like, screw you guys, I'm going home, okay? And I'll never want to work with you, blah, 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 blah. So many times I had people come back into my business and I would swallow my pride and say, okay, well, he left before. Should I let this guy back in? And every time they'd come back in, guess what? I made a crap ton of money because I checked my ego and just said, hey, listen, I'm going to have a great relationship. Now, here's the thing. That guy's not thinking to come back to Uncle Ray Ray and work with me if I'm a prick. Does that make sense? If I'm a complete a-hole, burn bridges. The thing is that if you ever looked up any of my reviews and stuff like that, like, nobody got mad at me or Sidcore because I never really showed them the dark side of Sidcore, but that's another story for another time. We talked about that before. But I was just honest with people. When people quit, I was like, hey, listen, man, I wish nothing but the best for you in the future. And guess what? They would come back because I built that relationship with them.
yeah.
When I had to fire people, it wasn't anything personal. It wasn't because, you look goofy or you smell like ass or anything weird like that, okay? It had nothing to do with it. It was, here's the deal. You're telling me that your goals are this, but clearly your actions are showing me this. That's not compatible with what's going to be successful in this company. It's nothing personal. I will literally write you a recommendation anywhere you want to go, but unfortunately, you're not going to work out well here at DMC Orlando. And reality of the situation is that's what happened. But guess what? Some of those guys, 2 or 3 years later, I have a girl, I won't say her name on this deal, but I had to fire her because she was fresh out of college and she did what most people fresh out of college do. What do they do? Well, I'm supposed to have a 6-figure job right now because I'm so amazing and blah, blah, blah. And the reality is you haven't done crap for 4 years. You listen to a liberal professor tell you about how white people are bad, America's racist, and all this stupid stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with the real world. Then you get into the real world, and magically you're like, crap, I have no skill set to do what I'm trying to do here. And I had to fire this girl. She goes away for about a year and a half, comes back and says, you know what? I had the wrong attitude. Let me prove to you, Ray, that I can really get this done. And guess what happened? She ended up being one of my better people, ultimately hit it close to assistant management when she was with me, if that makes sense. So she had a lot of success before, she decided to move on. So I had her for 2 rounds. The second time I had her for over a year. She made a lot of money, did successful, moved on to bigger, better things. You know what I mean? Another example, one of my outside deals that I opened up in Jacksonville. She went up, had a lot of success, but things in the personal life weren't working out too well. I could have done what most of the good old Syncor owners do, which is like, screw you, you're bad, horrible, blah, blah, blah person. And I said, listen, screw that. Come on back. Be my business partner. Let's work together. And you know who this person is. Let's kick some serious butt. And guess what? She was like probably one of my best friends. We learned a lot from each other. We built business together. We had a lot of success together. But guess what? She's not thinking that if she thinks that I'm some a-hole, right? And leadership
Yeah.
is a lot about relationships. Sales is about relationships. And you're going to get way more out of your customers. You're going to get a lot more out of the people that work for you. You're going to get a lot. People are going to believe in your vision and who you are more if they know how much you care about them, and they know that you love them. You know what I mean? Both squishy and both as an a-hole, right? Holding people accountable to what they are. You know what I mean? So that's kind of does that answer the question? Did I answer it
It
correctly?
does. No, it does, because
Okay,
you have to make tough decisions. But I wanted to see if you have to fire somebody because of the economical situation that we're
oh, yeah,
going
yeah.
through right
Yeah,
now,
sorry. Yeah,
would
here's
it
the
be the best technique, or not necessarily technique? This is sad, like you have to, but would it be
it's
the
honesty.
most
It's honesty. It's
friendly way?
It's honesty. That's what it is. You have to be honest with people. Like, hey, listen, the federal government has shut down our operations. The federal government has, decided to take these actions that are going to stop the business right now. So unfortunately, if business runs when revenue comes in, if there's no revenue coming in, I can't hold your position. Okay. So unfortunately, the way things are, I've got to, lay you off for now. Now, when things pick back up and I get the green light, I am going to come back to you. And here's the thing, you can have that honest conversation with people and them not lose their minds if you've built the relationship up before that situation happens. If you've been loyal to this person, if you worked hard for this person, if you've been honest with this person all along the way, when these moments like this happen, you can have those honest conversations with people. Because at the end of the people understand business. And the other thing that I tell people is not just being honestly honest, but being honestly honest. Like I used to tell people in Sycor how the money came in and how much I got paid. My guys knew exactly how much I paid. And no other Sycor owner did that. No other business owner that I know actually does that. Good ones do. And I'm going to tell you why. Because it will inspire people to be better than they are now. 2, it'll help them to understand that I don't make trillions of dollars. I am the last person that gets paid in this business. And a lot of people don't understand that. They don't understand that in entrepreneurship. If you're the business owner, you are the last person to get paid. You got to pay rent. You got to keep the lights on. You got to pay your employees. You got to pay for, merchandise if that's your business. You got to pay for materials if that's your business. You got to pay insurance. You got to pay taxes. Screw you, federal government. You got to pay a lot of these different things. Sorry, just, it is what it is. Less government. Shocker. Weird. What? But you've got to do all these things if you want to run the business. And I'm the last one to get paid. So if things go bad and I've got to let you go, guess what? Unfortunately, that's the situation. Because if I don't make these actions, the business doesn't last. And here's the problem. I won't be able to bring you back if the business is gone. So I've got to make the decisions that suck. But you know me, you know where I'm coming from. And this is the conversation that we have to have, right? So that's kind of the easiest way that I used to explain. Sorry, that was my computer.
That's
That's
okay.
lo siento. But that's the way that I explain things to people, right? So, and there were times I had to do that with my administrators in my company because there were
Yeah.
times where my business, not the coronavirus, but things happened in my business that we took a hit, and I was like, I had two administrators at one time. I was like, I have to get rid of one of you, and unfortunately, I got to let you go. But guess what? I brought that girl back when things started kicking back up. You know what I mean? So it's just how this thing works, and you can only do that if you've built solid relationships with people. Because business, regardless of the coronavirus, there are going to be ups and downs. Okay,
Yeah.
it's going to happen, but that's life. You know what I mean? Hopefully
So
that has.
if you are still in a position, let's say, and thankfully the whole coronavirus situation, the whole economical situation has not affected your position, but has affected a lot of your coworkers, and maybe you're thinking you always had some leadership skills on you, or maybe you want to build those leadership skills now when,
Yeah.
because also if you think about it, less people in the company, the more
Yeah.
exposed you are. So what would be some do's and don'ts on those situations?
I would say do any time that you can better yourself is always a do. I don't think there's anything negative from actually improving yourself. And what I always tell people is this is like I'm very big on like tripling down on your strengths, not necessarily ignoring your weaknesses, but like
Tripling down on your strengths.
triple down on your strengths, like what
Hmm.
you're good at, get really good at, right? So like there's a level. Here's the thing I always tell people: there's a level of natural strength that you have, physically, mentally, spiritually. Question, really simple question: do people like working on the things they suck at, or working at the things that they're good at? What do they
They're
like
good
working on?
at.
Hell yeah, I want to work on the things that I'm good
Let
at.
me tell you what I'm good at. Let me show
Exactly.
you.
Exactly. Like I'm a phenomenal. I hate to keep using the weight room, but that's what's in my mind because Ron DeSantis is keeping me from the gym right now, so it's all good. But I still am finding a way. Outlaw lifting going on. But like, I'm not a great squatter. I suck at squatting. I'm not good at it. I don't go into the gym and think, man, I really want to work on that squat today. That's really what's going to get me there. Because what's going to happen in that moment is I'm going to think, man, it's leg day and I really don't want to squat. I'm going to find every excuse possible not to go in and not do those things. Vice versa, I really like bench pressing. I really enjoy doing that. I will find ways. I will jump over, an electric fence to get to a place where I can go lift that, right? But that will get me into the gym. That strength naturally will pull me to the direction that I want to go. But guess what's in the weight room too? There's a squat rack. Well, I'm already there, improving on what I'm good at. I'm going to naturally pick up some things that I'm weak at. But the thing is when we concentrate on the things that we suck at, we're not motivated to do the things that we're amazing at that God made us to do. Okay, so like at the end of the day, what I always tell people is in moments like this, if you're not good at leadership, but let's say that you're phenomenal at organization, you're the organizing genius. Well, guess what? If there's less people in the office, less people online, and so on and so forth, and you're captain organization, you got to champion that bad boy. And guess what happens when you start championing organization? What is organization? What is leadership, anyways? Leadership is organizing people. It's organization. So you've tricked yourself into doing something that you thought you weren't good at because you worked on organization. Let's say that you're phenomenal at you're the you are the hype or the energy of your business. Okay, and you know it. You're the guy that when people walk in the door, like for example, I wasn't always a great leader, but what I was really good at was I am a hype man. If you come around me for 5 seconds, you're going to walk away more jacked up than you ever were in any sense, whether that's in the gym, whether that's in business, whether that's at church, whether that's as a dad or whatever. Okay, my girls naturally come around me, they're jacked up for daddy, they start wrestling daddy, energy goes up to the roof. That's what I'm good at. But because I was good at it, that's what I focused on, and that's what made me better at leadership, and that's what taught me the lessons to become better at leadership, which taught me the lessons to be able to run a company, to be a good leader, to be a good coach, to write books, and so on and so forth. Because I wasn't good at writing books. I'm not an English major. That is not my calling. Okay, my calling is my personal goal is to positively impact every single person that I come in contact with. Okay, I want to positively impact everybody. For me, it's bring high energy, get people excited about what they're doing, and if I go a million miles an hour that way, guess what? The vacuum of that energy will pull me to the other things that I need to work on, if that makes sense. So, especially now with the coronavirus, let's say that you were terrible at face to face interactions. Well, this is pretty easy to do now because you got to do a little Skype thing on a camera and so on and so forth, right? Let's say that you weren't getting FaceTime with the boss before. You're getting FaceTime with the boss now with this. So
just make sure you know you're on live, you guys, because there's
yeah.
a lot of people doing crazy stuff because they forget they're on camera.
So
Just make sure.
I mean, that's a reality situation. So I think that if we got to take advantage of these moments to be successful. But what I always encourage people to do is it's not about like, oh, I got all this time, man, let me work on the things I suck at, or you'll never touch it. You'll sit on your butt and not do anything about it. These are the moments to triple down on what you're good at, and the vacuum of that will take you to the places that you want to be. So hopefully did that answer your question?
Always.
Woo-hoo, got it. Loving
So
it.
I have another question for you.
Hit me with it.
So yes, you're physically getting isolated at home technically, but
Yes.
how can you isolate your mindset not to get affected from the virus itself?
It's really simple. Just turn things off. I mean, you got to know you. You got to know you. If you are easily rattled by what the media is telling you right now, turn off the TV.
Mm.
Because here's the magical thing that's going to happen in a couple weeks. I hate to be the spoiler alert here, but like, if you really look at the stats of the coronavirus and what's going on right now, and again, I'm not a medical professional or whatever, and so on and so forth, but if you just break down the actual numbers of what's going on, it's going to give you a lot of calming sensations immediately. The
Yeah.
media is not going to give you calming sensations. The media deals in fear. They deal in this idea of how can I get you more terrified to be hooked on this screen more to get more rattled. And if you can't handle that or not know that the media is designed to do that, turn it off. Literally, turn it off. Now people are like, well, I can't. I have my phone. I need my phone with me all the
Yes,
time.
you can. It's up to you. It's
But
in
you
your
can.
hand. You can.
You can. But yeah,
So I
turn
was
it off.
actually listening to because I do Audible.
Yeah.
I was listening to Persuasion by Robert Cialdini, and
Yeah.
it's very interesting how he talks about the media
Oh.
persuasion. He said back it was an experiment done like 2010. It said when 9/11 was close to happening, one of the biggest tragedies, people you would ask, be like, hey, in 2010, okay, they asked people, they said, what is the one of the most tragedies or events that happened within the last 10 years? And people would not say 9/11. People would just not say it. This was before 9/11 anniversary.
Yeah.
Afterwards, through 2 weeks afterwards, they did the experiment 2 weeks before and 2 weeks afterwards. When they would ask people, that increased, that people would say 9/11 and this and another event. The number of people that increased, it was by 60%.
Sure.
Just because of the media effect of how much media can just inject that information or put it more in your face.
Yep.
So it just that constant here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, this is what you dwell on. That's what your mind's going to be. And the media knows this, right? And you're going to find fear anytime you look for the media. The media is never going to give you hope. They're not. Like, literally, the media will never give you hope. They literally got on Donald Trump a couple days ago because he gave the country hope. Like, that's the most amazing thing. They called for Trump to give them hope. He gives them hope, and he's like, don't give us false sense of hope. We can't sell that. And the problem is when you put your faith and trust in the media, which has been kind of proven over and over again how false it is nowadays, you've got to understand their primary driver is fear. Fear. If you're going to lead, you don't have time for fear. Not that you don't experience fear, you will experience fear. You're going to experience doubt, uncertainty, and so on and so forth. But the difference is this: leadership is defined by courage. Courage is doing the thing that you're terrified of in spite of the fear. You keep going. And that's really what I would encourage anybody that's in the business world, the spiritual world, athletic realm, anything that that this can apply to is: are you going to succumb to fear? Or are you going to succumb to your courage that's natural inside of you? You got to be courageous in these moments. And at the end of the day, it's like, that's why I tell people, like, you can freak out about the coronavirus all day. And I'm not trying to be a guy. I'm I'm not trying to diss the numbers. And again, when I say this, Romina, I want all of your followers to understand I am not minimizing death. Death is a
Yeah.
horrible, tragic, very permanent thing. Okay? Don't get me wrong. I've been through it, got the t-shirt. But the problem is this. As of last night, there were 775 deaths in the United States of America due to coronavirus. That's horrible. That's 775 people. That's terrible. And that we've been tracking this since February 15th, 2020. But here's the problem. That comes out to about 20 deaths per day since February 15th. 138 people die of the flu every day. 130 people die of opioid addiction every day. 100 people die in car accidents every day. So at the end of the day, I'm not minimizing death, but you got to understand the death toll as of last night that the coronavirus has created in the United States equals about 6 days that it normally is with the flu. So again, we didn't shut down or panic or freak out because of the flu. We didn't shut down or panic or freak out because of the opioid addiction. We didn't shut down, panic, or freak out because of car accidents. Not saying, again, I'm not minimizing death, but you got to understand what they're selling you right now in the coronavirus. Not that it needs to be taken lightly, but they're selling you on you are all gonna die. That's what they're selling you on. They need you to panic and freak out so that you're tuned in to the TV all the
They're
time.
driving you by fear.
But if they told you the stats that I just told you, it wouldn't sell papers. You'd be like, hey,
Mhm.
by the way, congratulations, Corona. You are still 111 deaths per day less than the flu. Oops.
That is very true, because going back to what media and everything is putting, you know, you have to control it, because at the end of the day, you have car accident. And I joked about it too with my brother, because with my brother, I was like, I can literally walk outside of here, go for a drive, and I can get hit by the bus or hit by another car and pass away. So I was like, so why would I limit myself towards, you know, like everything going on? Why should I limit myself? It's all a mindset. It's kind of like that purifier thing, right? Like you purify your thoughts, you leave your junk on top of the purifier, and you filter down and you get the good stuff.
And that's because you're a leader. Because you don't take what the media tells you as face value. You don't take what anybody takes you as face value. Even the things that I'm
need
saying right
research.
now.
I need data. I need facts.
I'm the same way. Because the thing is this, you can be hyperbolic about anything. You can tell me that the world's ending, especially in business. Think about it. Everything's ending all the time. The world's going to end, you know, and you can be driven by that fear. You can sit back and be like, okay, this is what I have in the bank account. These are the decisions I've got to make to keep my business going or do whatever I've got to do. You know, and a lot of people don't have to make those decisions because most people have been employed. Most people are employed. Like 97% of the population are employed people. Okay. I'm employed right now. You know what I mean? So a lot of people have not gone into that realm of actually running a company or being there. So successful people that are successful in business are driven by data and reality. And that's the same thing with even this coronavirus. Look at the actual data and the reality. Don't just take what the media is telling you. They're going to be, oh my gosh, 100 people died today. You're still 30 behind the flu. Why aren't you reporting that? And we didn't shut down the Olympics for the flu. We didn't stop air travel for opioid addiction. We didn't, you know what I mean? So like, it's just perspective. It's not minimizing the death or minimizing what the impact could be of this. But the reality is this: we didn't get quarantined for the flu. Okay. And and here's the other thing too, and especially in this topic, if you look at the CDC recommendations, all they're telling you to do is wash your hands and stay away from old people.
Very basic hygiene stuff.
Simple. There's a 98.6 survivability rate of this flu. Even if you get it, it's 98.6%. So you just got to understand, like, that's not what the media is going to sell. And if you're not a leader, if you're not critically thinking, if you're just taking everything you're told at face value, you'll panic. Because even the things I'm saying right now, vet them. Take a look at my stats. Take a look at the things that I'm telling you. Read my book, Defy It by Definition. Okay, check it out and see what's going on and see what you think about these things and critically think through these things before you jump on the bandwagon and panic and fear and freak out. But yeah, sorry.
It's okay. No, something else that I wanted to do too for you guys is what I've done to take advantage of this additional free time, not by choice, but here we are. Take advantage of the time. So what I started doing is that I start connecting with people that I went to college with, or connecting with family and friends from back home that I haven't talked to in a minute, just to make sure, touch base, make sure everything is okay. Sometimes we take things for granted. Like we live our daily life, and if something happens, you're like, oh my God, I know this person here and here. Like, let's check on them. So honestly, on Saturday and Sunday, I was literally FaceTiming and Skyping and just talking to people, because I was like, let's just be people, right? Let's just be human. So on Monday, my mom tells me that a family friend in Italy had messaged her and said, "We're just Romina calling me, just gave me like added hours of joy, because with Italy, with everything going on right now, like she just made me so happy. She just wanted to see me camera, make sure I was okay." And I did it because I genuinely wanted to do it. But I wanted to kind of break it down too. That's leadership also, because you can call your friends and make sure. Leadership doesn't mean that you're going to be a crew of 100 or 1,000 people, like guide them through the war. Even little steps like that, you can start as small as that, because when you get those compliments back, that's what gets you more addicted to being a good leader.
Absolutely. Leadership starts with you. And guess what? If one other person steps up, sweet. I mean, that's great. But like at the end of the day, if you're leading yourself and doing the things that you would probably want other people to do, golden rule, right? Naturally, you're going to be able to lead and help other people get where they want to be too. So like, I think that's the thing that people are missing. And exactly what you're talking about is like, take these moments to like, like it sucks. I don't get to see my great uncle in Lakeland right now, because he's 80 some years old, man. You know what I mean? And again, as much as I know that this thing is not going to kill me, it could really it could mess his life up. You know what I mean? So I'm not going out there and advocating people go make out with an old person. Like, don't do that, right? But at the end of the day, it's just call them, see what's going on, man. Really connect with people. But that goes back to what true leadership is, which is building relationships. Real leadership is building relationships and having the courage to do the things that most people won't do. That's what it is. And if you're doing those things, most people are very self-centered right now. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't leave my house, which is magical, because before none of us left the house anyways. But now I'm walking around Florida and everybody and their brother's bike riding right now. You know what I mean? Like, oh my goodness, I have to stay home and watch Netflix. You were doing that anyways, man. Do that little extra thing and call somebody you haven't talked to in a long time. Talk to your uncle, bug people. You know what I mean? I know my brother's probably sick of hearing my voice. You know what I mean? I know my wife and kids are sick of me at this point. You know what I mean? But like at the end of the day, like you can help people, encourage people, help people get where they want to be a positive impact in people, creating content, doing live feeds, doing all the things that we're doing right now to really improve the situation and ultimately help other people. Because guess what? All of this crap's going to end. It will. It will literally end. It probably, if it's Easter, cool. But guess what? All of this stuff's going to end. We're going to go back to normal life. Don't waste this opportunity because you watched, Tiger King 7,000 times on Netflix. You know what I mean? Like, no offense, even though it's a phenomenal show, but it is what it is.
It was a hilarious show too.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So something else, yes, it's true though. Like I'm the person, as you know me, I'm the person that I'm always out. I'm always doing something.
Sure.
Like I always would be like, I need more than 24 hours in one day. And then always like go, 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 go. So yes, I will be honest. I struggle with just being home because I want to be out and about. And that doesn't mean like me going partying or me like literally I want to go to the coffee shop, have my laptop and write a book. I want to go.
Want to party. Stop. You want to party. You're
that's
crazy.
my party style.
I'm playing.
I'm the life of the party. That's my party style. Like grab a book, go to a donut shop and just sit on the corner and just space out. Or just go to school or like things like that. So yes, I am struggling with just staying home right now. But I've tried to, and I will say this very openly. Yes, I was being negative at first. Because
that's honesty.
No, I'll say it because I was like, what am I supposed to do at home? Like this is bananas. Like what am I supposed to do at home? So I reorganized my whole room. I start writing. I start journaling again, and I have this thing that I do. Have I showed you this? So I write one thing that I'm grateful for, right? Or like riddle summary of my life. So what I do is I do like little quotes, like daily quotes in here. Nice. And then every day, however I feel, I give the mood of my day a grade. Like I grade them anywhere from 1 to 10. Okay. So the last one that I did, that was a couple of days ago. Let's see what it was. Oh, that was a 9. That's a 9. So write little things that you're grateful for. Sometimes you take things for granted, such as being healthy or being able to go wherever you want.
Yeah, it's
So
the attitude of gratitude.
yeah, and I mean, you can do it, guys. I mean, if somebody like me and Ray that always out can do it, you can do it.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah.
Just try to juice up the time, because time is one thing you don't get back, so don't waste it.
100%, man. You know, and the thing too is this is like there's so much you can learn when things get quiet. Okay, you don't have to be in front of the TV and hear them talk about how you're all going to die from the coronavirus, which is not going to happen, by the way. Like, read, write, learn, pray, whatever. Like, take advantage of these moments, because you're not. Listen, everything's going to go back to normal. Yeah, measure what matters. I like it, right? But things are going to get back to normal, and you're going to be back in the normal hustle and bustle, and you're going to forget. And you're going to pray for moments like this, where it's like, man, I wish I could have taken the time to do X, Y, and Z. So, but yeah, that totally makes sense.
Awesome. Well, I feel like we covered a lot of great things, right? If people need to get a hold of you,
yeah,
and if people need to talk to you or maybe see your crazy TikToks, which they're very thought-provoking.
Oh, I'm gonna make people mad. It's funny. That's what I do, but it is what it is. Yeah, to follow me, it's really simple.
But if you're a great marketer, though, if your marketing, if your ideas do not piss off some people, that you're not doing a great job. So that's just
it's true. Well, if you're gonna make an omelet, you got to break eggs, and that's how it works in this world. So, but if you want to follow me, first and foremost, thank you for plugging my book. I appreciate it. It is Defiant by Definition. That's on Amazon.com. I've got Defined by Definition by Ray Weisenbarger. It's a leadership book that a lot of people really enjoyed. I keep it at 99 cents so that everybody can enjoy it and stuff like that. I don't make anything off of it. It's just I have to do it. That's what Amazon makes me do. I Will Rule's another book that I wrote that's just a little bit of a take on life and a lot of things that we're talking about right now. I've got a third book coming up, Cliche, that I've just got to do a little bit of fine tuning to, and then I'm going to put that out there as well. I do a podcast, Plausible Foolishness, that's going on tonight at 9 o'clock tonight. Me and the mad scientist Matt will be talking. We're two credulous rubes from Normal, Florida, and we'll be talking about the political landscape of the day, and we'll be talking about what's going on in the world, which is a lot of fun.
I'm going to hop on that one, because
you got to. It's on Twitch. Download the Twitch app if you have it. It's twitch.tv
slash
Plausible Foolishness. See? It's catching on. Twitch.tv / Plausible Foolishness, twitch.tv / Plausible Foolishness. We do that every single time. And obviously, I'm the strong one on TikTok. I have like 32,000 followers right now on that bad boy. So I do live stream.
That's spelled ST wrong.
Yeah, it's spelled ST wrong1.com or ST strong 1. So that's my persona or whatever. That's the name that I gave myself on TikTok. But yeah, you can follow me everywhere there. I'm on Instagram, on Facebook. DM me if you have any questions about anything. I'm an open book. I'm not that guy that's like, yeah, pay me $20,000 for my 10-lesson course. Blah 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 blah. I'm never going to be that guy. It's kind of douchey to me. No offense. It just is what it is. But I love helping people. I love positively impacting people, and I try to give information for free. I try to help people take complex things, make them very simple, and that's what I've always done. So, but I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for having me on, Miss Romina.
You're very welcome, Uncle Ray. And thank you for being on another.
Number three, I've been on, man. It's great. But it's all good, man.
Thank you so much, Ray, for being here. And for everybody, go ahead and look at the details, because yes, this is a video, it's a live stream, but I'm actually going to go ahead and convert it, and it's going to be on rmpodcastfl.com. That's where you'll be able to find. And to sum it up a little bit, today we talked about it's time for leaders to gear up with this whole situation going on, and don't forget your actual leadership skills. And maybe leverage the situation, because that's where good people, strong people rise up from hard times. So
True that.
Tough times don't last. Tough people do.
Amen.
Awesome. Look at the details, you guys. For Ray's information, go ahead and get a hold of Ray. Ray, thank you so much for being on our podcast.
Romina, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'll see you around.
Thank you.
Bye, girl. See you, girl.